Coming to you from the Big Island of Hawaii, it's the Songs and Stories Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Aloha, I'm Steve Roby. Welcome to the Songs and Stories Podcast. It's a weekly show where we interview the Big Island's talented musicians and check out some of their music. On today's episode, I'm very honored to have Kimberly June, better known as KJ. Welcome to Songs and Stories, KJ.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's good to have you on the show.
It's good to be here. This is actually the third podcast I've been on.
Wow. Okay. They are quite popular these days. Well, I like to start out each show with a look back at a musician's early influences and how they got started with music. What was it like for you?
I grew up listening to country as a young child. I loved Garth Brooks and Randy Travis. And then I went through a phase of Jewel and Alanis Morissette, good 90s music.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started actually writing and playing guitar, my biggest influences were Bonnie Raitt. I really liked listening to old jazz, Sarah Vaughan, Dinah Washington, and that kind of stuff, and played in a blues band when I was, 17, 18 years old.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's how I got started with it. And then I went to Berklee for 1 year, which is what most people do. Berklee College of Music in Boston.
Right.
John Mayer famously went there for 1 year. There's many other musicians. That's where I got really into jazz and blues. And then I moved to Nashville, and it became all about country.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah. But I've come to find actually that country is not what comes naturally to me. It's more like folky music. I like to write lyrics that are really quirky and different and deep and real. I kind of made my way over here just to hit the reset button, thinking I might go back to Nashville. And
when you first landed in Hawaii, was it the Big Island?
Well, first I went to Honolulu for 2 weeks thinking I might go there, but it was just so busy and crowded.
Right.
And I just love the vibe of the Big Island, that when I landed here, I knew immediately that I was going to stay.
Nice. Do you recall, was there a specific moment you can point to music-wise where there was like something clicked inside of you that said, yeah, I want to be a musician. Yeah, I want to do what they're doing. Was there something like that?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Actually, it's kind of embarrassing. When I was like 15, I watched this movie. I can't even remember what it was called, but it had Hilary Duff in it. It was like a Disney movie or something. It was so cheesy. Even at the time, I thought it was a cheesy movie. But she goes from being a really shy girl to becoming like a singer, pop star. Because I'm kind of shy. I still get stage fright all the time. And even singing in small groups around a campfire, I get more nervous than when I'm on stage. So it's strange. But so when I saw that, it was like a zero to hero kind of movie. That's when I told my parents I wanted to do music, and they were like, all right. So they sent me to a summer program at Berklee, actually, when I was 15 in Boston. So I lived in Boston in the dorms at the college when I was 15, just for the summer.
Oh, nice.
And that's kind of how I got started. And I kept kind of avoiding it as a college choice because I came from such a practical family. Music was always just kind of a hobby. So I tried to go to college for communications, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I watched all the kids at Berklee walk by with their guitars on their backs and called my parents crying and was like, hey, I need to do music. And they were really supportive, and I transferred.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, let's talk about your songwriting process. How has it evolved over the years? And can you describe for our listeners the way you go about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's different all the time. Sometimes a melody with lyrics and everything just pops into my head at once, like an entire chorus will just come to me. I probably have like a million half-written songs, but the crafting of it is where you have to have discipline, and you have to sit down and actually take all your ideas and make it something that's digestible for the listener. So I learned a lot I tried to write songs when I was like 15, 16. They were all so cute, little Taylor Swift kind of songs. And they were actually pretty good. When I got to Nashville, that's kind of where I learned how to craft, learned the structures, and really just paid attention to what the hit songs on the radio were. And from there, I feel like it's come naturally to me, honestly. Like, I don't have to work that hard to craft a pop song, I guess you could call it, like a song that's easily digestible.
Is there anybody on the island that you've collaborated with, or have you been to like the Hawaii Songwriting Festival?
Yes, actually. I went to it for the first time 3 years ago, and I was like, how did I not go to this sooner? Because it was just so awesome. I guess I thought it was just like I thought it was like an amateur thing for people to learn how to write songs. I don't know why. So I just didn't go. And then when I went for the first time, I realized, oh, they're like flying people in from LA and Nashville to come and just give us workshops and give us feedback on stuff. And there's a lot of great connections. And I met people from all over the islands here that I still collaborate with. I go to Oahu often with production and songwriting, collaborate with people over there. And then also there's a guy named Higgs here who's awesome. He's lives up like Hamakua. He's rapped on some songs, or actually one song that I wrote the chorus of it and just could not come up with verses. And I heard his voice in my head. And then he and I came up to my house one day, just like wrote the song and recorded it. And it's on my album, which was released today on Spotify and all the online platforms. It's called Grateful for You.
Let's give a listen to one of the songs you sent over. You sent me 3. The first one we're going to play is called Why Don't You Surf Anymore? Tell me about this song.
I was dating a surfer boy because that's what we have to choose from here. No, I mean, he's actually a really awesome guy, and we're still friends, but he wasn't surfing as much as he was partway through our relationship, and I was thinking that it was all my fault, and I was keeping him from it. And so it was actually like an inspired true story about like me encouraging him to go surf. It's one of my favorites on the album.
All right. Well, let's give a listen to it now. This is Why Don't You Surf Anymore by KJ here on Songs and Stories.
Why don't you surf anymore? 6 a.m. first one barefoot out the door, paddling out like that's what you're living for. I don't really understand, why don't you surf anymore? Like you did when we first met, 6 feet tall, soaking wet, skipping work to catch that set. Ooh. Why don't you surf anymore? Me and my girls, we posted up on the shore, soaking the sun like that's what we're living for. And why don't you come give me that salty kiss? High on life, that's what I miss. Out there on the ocean blue, that's the only leash on you. Come give me that big wave, ice cold sunset, cold
Hey, Big Island music fans. Would you like to be part of the podcast? If you go to our website, bigislandmusic.net, you can record a comment about the show or tell us about a musician you'd like to see interviewed. Just click on the microphone icon and start recording. Don't forget to tell us where you're located. Your comments might be included in a future podcast. So head over to bigislandmusic.net. We'd love to hear from you.
Hey, I'm Justine.
I'm Eric.
I'm Laura.
And we're KOA.
You're listening to Songs and Stories
With Steve Roby.
If you like Big Island punk rock, check us out on Facebook,
Instagram,
Spotify, or wherever you stream.
That's Cause of Affliction.
Like Ka-U with a Z.
K-A-U-Z of Affliction, baby.
And we're back on Songs and Stories with my special guest today, KJ. And we're talking about her brand new album. What more can you tell us about it? What are some of the other tracks on the album?
We got Stoked, which is just a song about loving life and loving life with a partner and growing together. The Full Moon song, I just have a thing with the moon. You know, we have a relationship, the moon and I. And so on my 28 and a half birthday, which is so random, it was a full moon in December 13th. And I just had this really big epiphany about life and my relationship with God, and it all just kind of came together in that moment, and it was really powerful. And this song just poured out of me, like I think it was coming. It was not even from me. It was like I was channeling something. So that song is really, really special to me, and that's one of the songs on the album that I produced myself.
All right.
In my bedroom here. And then the other one that I produced was Grateful for You with Higgs. And both of those songs actually were songs that just poured out of me, didn't have to work at all for it. So those are very rare and I love them.
All right. Well, the decision to make an album instead of a series of different singles, which seems to be the kind of the popular thing to do these days. How did you reach that decision to do a full length album?
For me, it feels like a chapter. So it's like I didn't sit down and make the whole thing at once. I kind of piece it together over time. Like my first album was kind of my Nashville chapter, where I took all of my favorite songs that I wrote and produced while living in Nashville and put them on an album. Just kind of to have something out there, all my favorites, like the highlight reel. And then same thing with this one. I love having something to sell at my shows too. And I've sold so many that I'm just like, well, I have to make another one.
It's nice to have some merchandise, yeah.
Yeah, and have something in my hand, and it's just like, you know, I haven't printed this one yet because I'm just gonna wait until the COVID thing's over.
Right.
But I've had so much fun designing the cover and like making the little booklet with all the lyrics and putting notes and all that stuff in it and photos, and it's like a little project, and it gives me something to look forward to.
I like those physical things that you can hold in your hand and read, and you know, as opposed to an invisible digital track that.
I mean, nowadays nobody even has a CD player in their car. So
I know. People send me CDs, and I said I have nothing to play them on. You know, I'm sorry. Hey, you mentioned COVID and the pandemic. Did that change or shift your music plans? Did you go into a writing process during the downtime?
Yeah, it definitely it took away all my gigs, which I look forward to so much because it really just, I love that sharing, the energy exchange, and it gives me a good sense of purpose, and I just feel like I'm contributing something to the world when I'm playing.
Right.
And so not being able to do that definitely like made me a little edgy for a while, but I put all of that energy into working on projects at my house and stuff. But I really do miss playing in front of crowds. I play once in a while still at Papa Kona and playing at the Manalani on Thursday. But yeah, I guess I got more into wrapping up this album, and I've been writing a lot lately.
Do you have any specific plans once this whole thing is gone and over? And do you have any plans to write some more music and get out there on the road or anything?
Oh, for sure. I plan to, I think I've already started the third album, and I do release singles along the way too. So I do the single thing, but I really like having albums. So, and I've started writing for the third one, and I plan to do some traveling. I'm taking off for a couple months with a backpack and a guitar, and I'm going to Mexico. And
that sounds like fun.
I know. I'm so excited. I want to take guitar lessons. I've taken guitar lessons in Cuba and Mexico, and it was the highlight of my entire year, these experiences. I just love to learn, and Latin music is extremely challenging to me, but also something that lights me up. And I grew up in the Dominican Republic and speak Spanish, and I just feel like that's kind of what I'm being called to do right now, is to write more and learn more in Spanish and Latin style.
All right. I can't wait to hear from you how that all works out for you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you mentioned a track earlier called Stoked. Do you want to tell me about that one?
Yeah. This one kind of was one of those beautiful ones that flowed right out. I was just at the kitchen table, just feeling really good about this new partnership that I was in. We actually made a music video for it too that takes place here on this island. It's really, really good quality, awesome video on YouTube.
How fun. Well, let's give Stoke a listen to now. It's by KJ, and you're listening to Songs and Stories.
I don't really know that much about anything. In my short time, I've come to find there's a synchronicity in everything. Take it in, every breath, be your best self. Take chances, do dances, romances, 'cause all that's left when everything else fades away. Sets on the choices that we make. It's all about the love that we create. Oh baby, my hand is yours to take. Look at the love we made. You and I, we make a great team. I love how you're always scheming something, making good things out of nothing. And in the chaos of this life, somehow you can read my mind. Your brain looks a lot like mine, and it's freaky. Sometimes I can't take my eyes off you. Love everything you do. And there's more where that came from. Feel the beat of my heart going steady as a drum. Baby, you're my number one. At the end of the day, I'm stoked to say that my hand is yours to take. Hand is yours to take. Look at the love we made. My hand is yours to take. My hand is yours to take. Our cup is running over. Let it flow just like a river. Let's be givers, you and I. Share this love for life. Look at all this love we made. Man, this world is crazy, babe. I can't help but thinking, hey, it must be the money. My hand is yours to take. Hand is yours to take. At the love we made. And there's nowhere that came from. Feel the beat of my heart going steady as a drum. Baby, you're my number one. At the end of the day, I'm stoked to say that my hand is yours to take. My heart going steady as a drum. Look at the love we made. Today, I'm stoked to say that my hand is yours to take. Look at the love we made.
Did you know that you can also find Songs and Stories episodes on our website, bigislandmusic.net? The online magazine has been covering the music scene since 2017, and there's lots of great content, including interviews, reviews, and video performances too. Head over to bigislandmusic.net to find out more.
Hey, how's it? Your man Lil Paca Roots. Thank you for listening to the Songs and Stories podcast with Stephen Roby. You can find my music on Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube, and as well as all other musical streaming platforms. You can also find me, Lil Paca Roots with a Z, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And you can find some of my music coming up soon. I'm living my best life, yeah.
And we're back on Songs and Stories with KJ. Tell me about this other song we've got here called With a Fire.
With a Fire. Okay, so the funny thing is I actually changed the name of that song at the last second, last week, right before my album got posted on all the online platforms. So I've been calling it With a Fire for years, and now it's called You Turn Me On, because that's what everybody else keeps calling it.
Okay.
I was just like, if I want people to be able to find the song, so if they're going to type in, that's what they keep thinking it's called, I'm just going to put it as that. So it's now called You Turn Me On. That song I wrote at Mahayula Beach with a little guitar lele, which is what I normally play actually at my shows. It's a small, tiny guitar. Everyone thinks it's an uke, but it's a guitar. It was, I don't know what your listening crowd is for this, but it was just actually written about sexual frustration, and just, I had been single for a while, and it just has some fire to it, and it heats up the room every time I play it live. That's for sure.
Well, so I don't get the song title wrong, and I've written down With a Fire. What's the title again? The new title?
You Turn Me On.
You Turn Me On. It's a funny little side story for our listeners here. I asked you through a text, and sometimes text can be misunderstood easily. I said, so what are the 3 songs you want me to play today? And you said, yes, stoked. And I thought, wow, she's stoked to do this podcast. And then there's like, why don't you surf anymore? And I'm thinking, well, yeah, it's been a while since I've surfed. And then With the Fire, and I was like, well, maybe I haven't surfed passionately for a while. And so those combination of those song titles together, especially with a new one, a person like myself could get easily confused.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, I should have put numbers in front of them.
There was just comments, and I'm going, okay. Then when you said look back, a couple of texts there, and those are the song titles. Like, okay, Steve. So, anyway, where can people find your music? I'm sure you're everywhere.
Yeah, on iTunes and Spotify and Amazon and Apple and all that stuff. You can just search Kimberly June, and I think I'm the only one. Mm-hmm. And then I also post stuff on my Instagram all the time. It's just KJ.love, JUSTKJ.love. And Facebook is Kimberly June. And yeah, that's okay.
And you have a website too, right?
Oh yes, my website is justkj.love, which is cool. I didn't realize you could do that. But
yeah, that threw me too. It's not .com or .net, it's .love.
Yes, you can actually do .anything these days.
Something new. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go today?
If anyone's going to be around on Friday night, just come to Papa Kona. I don't know when you're releasing this podcast, but
somewhere in the future.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, then I think I'm good.
Just hang around Papa Kona's, and eventually KG will show up. And
yes, I do play there a lot. So, and I keep my schedule up to date on my website. There's like a calendar you can click on, and it's always up to date.
Okay. Let me see if I can get this announcement correctly. You're listening to Songs and Stories, and here's You Turn Me On by KJ.
Snowball in hell, I'm dripping all over. It's something I can't help. on.
Thanks for listening to the Songs and Stories podcast. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. We'll see you next week on Songs and Stories. Aloha.